In a region mostly quiet and beautiful, an artificial catastrophe, more likely the product of human incompetence. At the core of the problem, an oil tanker carrying millions of gallons of oil with a high percentage of possible unprecedented spillage that could contaminate the sea between Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago, causing an ecological catastrophe. The tanker is the Nabarima, and it threatens the quiet nature and biodiversity of the Gulf of Paria. But how did this come to pass? The Venezuelan-flagged Nabarima has lain in the Gulf of Paria since last January, when the US sanctions on Venezuela made it illegal for companies that operate in the US to trade with the country's state-owned oil company. For this very reason, the Nabarima has been drifting in the Gulf of Paria unattended. Currently, the Nabarima is carrying 1.3 million barrels of crude oil, according to Venezuelan politicians and green activist groups. With up to 80 million gallons of oil, a spill from the vessel could cause an ecological disaster. In retrospect, in the Exxon Valdez spill of 1989, one of the worst oil spills recorded, 18 million gallons were released, covering an area 74 times the size of Georgetown, Guyana. However, as the situation becomes much more dire, countries in the immediate vicinity of the possible spill fear the repercussions and are on the lookout with high-level contingency plans. Trinidad and Tobago's energy and foreign minister in particular have made it known that a team would visit the vessel on Tuesday, October 20. But what is it that is causing so much fear and tension in the area? What is it that is causing countries to be on the lookout? Well, they are the nonchalant statements released by the Bolivarian government in an attempt to conceal this possible oil spill from the world through misinformation and indifference. Venezuela has previously said the vessel is safe. But novel information from environment activists and politicians say that this solitary tanker in the Paria is tilting at an increased rate. Trinidadian environmental group Fishermen and Friends of the Sea, which represents 50,000 people in the local fishing industry, has called for a national emergency. The group visited the ship by boat on Friday and posted a video showing Nabarima tilting and suspended by anchor chains. In the video, we see a distraught Gary Aboud, the group's corporate secretary, deploring this negligence on the part of the Venezuelan government and imploring the aid of the international community and Trinidadian government to shed light on the true nature of the problem. The Nabarima is jointly owned by Venezuelan state oil company Petróleos de Venezuela, PDVSA, and Eni, the Italian oil giant. However, this is no time to play politics, since a lot would be at stake for the region if this problem is not remedied. Even lawmakers from the Venezuelan National Assembly, who tend to be critical of President Nicolás Maduro, called on the country's government to urgently unload oil from the Nabarima to avoid a disaster, and said the risk had increased alarmingly. However, the question remains the same. Will this spillage have a direct impact on Guyana's marine ecosystem? I reckon that the answer to this question is a resounding no. But it does have an indirect impact. Why? Because in recognition of international relations, Trinidad is part of the Caribbean community, and what affects one Caribbean country affects them all. However, the focus here is on the physical and direct impact of this possible spill on Guyana's marine ecosystem. To allay any fears, a prognosis from the Civil Defense Commission, the CDC in Guyana, shows no direct impact on Guyana's shores or marine ecosystem from any possible releases. However, it may indirectly affect fisherfolk who are licensed to operate in surrounding waters off the coast of Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago. While there are no reports of any spills or discharges, if the contents of the Nabarima do become discharged into the Gulf of Paria, it can become a major disaster that affects Caribbean countries. However, any possible response at this time is to have the Venezuelan authorities stabilize the vessel and seek permission by Venezuela for Trinidad to conduct inspections, while alternative FSO vessels are being procured to transfer the Nabarima's cargo. The CDC, however, has assured the general public that it will continue to liaise with its local, regional, and international counterparts to ensure the situation is adequately monitored and that no threats are posed to Guyana.